This is Andy Purewal for Boxing News. I'm joined by trainer Tony Sims in warmer climates over in Spain. Tony, how are you?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, Andy. You?
I'm very well, thank you. I know you're deep into camp now with Conor, so I'm sure he's probably waiting for you to do his morning session with him. How's things started?
Yeah, it's all good, mate. Well, it's actually our rest day today, so he's resting anyway.
I've been keeping my eye on kind of his workouts. You've had yourself, obviously Dan Lawrence there as well. He looks to be trying to push himself to new levels.
Yeah, he has been actually this camp, and it's been a good camp over here because we've had no distractions. It's uh, it's quiet over here where we're staying, and the gym. There's no distractions in the gym. It's mostly just Spanish people in there training anyway, so we ain't got any distractions, and he's just been cracking away with his work. Really, he's like I always see it as training weeks. So we've got like 4 training weeks left of the fight, so which will go pretty quick now. So he's in brilliant shape already. If I said to him, "You're fighting tomorrow night, 12 rounds," he'll be ready to go now. So I'm just kind of holding him back a little bit. He's got the weekend off this weekend, and we'll reboot on Monday. But we've had great sparring for the last 2 weeks. Denzel Bentley's been out here, so that's been brilliant work. And I've got a young kid of mine, Ramtin Musa, coming out today. He's going to do a week here. Then we've got Bruno Cerise, who's fighting Mongia. In the return, he's coming out for 2 weeks. And then Denzel's doing the last week. So we're all sorted with quality sparring, really.
That's actually like answered my next question quite perfectly. I was going to ask about trying to arrange sparring and what have you, not being based down in London or down in Essex, how easy it's been. But from the looks of it, it's been quite straightforward for you guys to get the sparring you wanted.
Yeah, we kind of organised it before we come out here, so everything was sorted correctly. And so we've got really quality world level sparring, and he's as you say, he's looking good in training. So 4 weeks left out here. We'll come back the Saturday before the fight. Just towel off back in the gym in Essex, and he'll be ready to go, mate.
Obviously, I know going into this fight, there's been a lot of talk about Eubank's weight front in terms of him and his past struggles to 160, the rehydration clause and what have you. But Connor's being the smaller guy naturally moving up. How are you looking to just kind of build his muscle and build him into what the 160 frame, or do you still expect him to come in relatively lower than that, just because you don't want him to just be building up for the sake of building up?
Yeah, he's a naturally 147 fighter. Um, so he's naturally 2 weights below Chris Eubank. So obviously, Eubank's got a massive advantage on him there. But his speed and he's got a really high IQ when he's in the ring. So he's very smart, smarter than people think he is. Like when fighters spar with him, they don't realise that until afterwards. He's very clever. His ring generalship's very smart, and he obviously carries the power as well as a 147 fighter that probably is, at 160. So um, it's just about working on tactics. What we've been working on um, for the last year, really, because we quite kind of knew this fight would eventually happen, and it's just tactically working away on things behind closed doors, um, and then just practicing them in sparring really, and that's what he's been doing.
I know there's obviously not too much you can give away on the tactic side of things, but with obviously as you mentioned your juniors recent or past struggles with 160 and again we mentioned that rehydration clause. Do you feel like it'll be important for Connor to look to work his body early, try and slow Junior down, make him feel it, and make him feel that weight cut early in the fight?
Well, Eubank boxed at 160 last time, did
He did, yeah.
he? Yeah, so he obviously made the weight all right because he won by stoppage. And the next day, the rehydration. I mean, like all my ex IBF world champions have made that weight comfortably the next day, £10, and then you still got the rest of the day and night to put them weight on. So I expect him to come in a lot heavier. And But as I say, we're at the big disadvantage, really, not him. So it's just about working on our speed work really and getting all our tactics right on the night.
Tony, we know kind of, especially with this fight in particular, he's somebody who, when he's preparing for a fight, he can become emotionally involved, and obviously with the history of the families, the cancellation of the first fight 2 years ago. Um, how important will it be for you to kind of drill it into him, especially when you're in the ring, when he's doing his ring walk and he comes to you just before the first bell goes, where you try and keep him level-headed and ensure that he doesn't fight on emotions?
Yeah, very important. And I've always, spoke to him and instilled in him. And obviously, we do our prayers before we do the ring walk, and it's important to keep him calm. And I believe he will be ready mentally and physically on the night of the fight. I don't have no problem with that at all. And obviously, I know him inside out. He's been with me like 10 years now, and he'll be fine on the night. I know people think that his emotions run away with him, but it's for only split seconds that you see that. He's naturally a calm person, and he'll be firing on all cylinders on the night, but with a calm way about him.
Do you think Eubank's looking to bank, not necessarily bank, but certainly looking to um, get underneath the skin of Conor as much as possible to upset his own rhythm?
Yeah, of course. And if you look like 30 years ago, that's what Chris Eubank Sr. done to Nigel Benn, and exactly the same tactics. And that's what makes the fight, because they're both polar opposite human beings of each other, temperament wise. And that's what made the two fights between Eubank Senior and Nigel Benn such a big fight. And that's what's making this fight big, is that they genuinely have dislike for each other. They genuinely don't get on, and they would never get on outside the ring either. So that's what makes it such a big fight. And the good thing about this fight is it's a generation fight, because you'll see like people of my age that remember them two fights, remember the build up to them two fights, and remember how spectacular they both was. And so you'll have my generation watching that, remembering that. And this is basically like the Eubank Ben 3. And then you'll have the younger generation that obviously knows both of these fighters that have followed them. And so you've got a lot of generations going to be watching this fight.
Tony, taking aside your kind of involvement with Connor, when you look at Junior and you look at all of his comments, the egg slap situation, trying to put on bets with Eddie Hearn, and all of the way that he's kind of handled himself in the build up to this, what's your thoughts and your feelings towards Chris Eubank Jr.?
I've got really no thoughts or feelings at all towards him. I just study him, watch how he fights technically, um, then work on obviously his weaknesses and his strengths in the gym. But I haven't got no feelings at all towards him, other than trying to get my fighter to win the fight. And that's it. That's it. That's it. Really, I don't really watch much of it on what's going on social media. So it's just tactics. That's all I care about really, and just to get the win.
Can I ask what you did make of the egg gate scenario? Obviously that was a viral moment which is still going around everywhere now.
Well, I wasn't there, so I didn't go to that press conference. So I see the little tiny bit of it on the obviously social media like everyone else did. But listen, it was over in like seconds, and um, obviously it ran Conor Benn out at the time. But the next day he was in the gym and he was back to normal again. So I don't think it's affected him at all.
Last one on it all, Tony. What should we expect when fight night arrives?
I think it's going to be a great fight. I really do. And both both boys want to win this fight badly, obviously for their name and for their fathers. And I believe that it's going to be a great fight, but I strongly believe that my man will come out the victor of the fight. And but I'm looking forward to it. It'll be a momentous occasion, and I'm sure all the fans are looking forward to it as well. And I'm sure as a boxing fan that everyone will be tuning in to watch it as well.
I was just saying, just before we wrap this up and I leave you to enjoy the rest of your Saturday, just a couple of things to get your thoughts on. Boxing's been reinstated into the LA Olympics, given your considerable involvement within the sport, Tony, those amateur stars you've worked with previously. How important of a decision has that been for the future of the sport?
Oh yes, he's brilliant, and I couldn't really believe it when I was saying that it wasn't going to be in the Olympics because when you look at the Olympics, boxing is probably one of the oldest sports. You know, when they first started the Olympics, um, it was really athletic. Boxing and lifting was the three main sports. So you know, to leave boxing out of the Olympics would have left a gaping hole in in the actual sport of itself. And you know, it's great for the athletes as well because when you're a young amateur and you're boxing, before you think of anything professional, you're always thinking about going to the Olympics. That's your main goal as an amateur, really. And obviously, very few ever achieve that. But you know, most amateurs think of that as their main goal. So to take that away from them would have been disastrous for the sport. So it's a great thing that it's back in the Olympics.
Just on, as we mentioned, the Olympics, they obviously former Olympic champion George Foreman sadly passed away overnight, and we had that news this morning. Just again, somebody I know you'd have watched on numerous occasions. Your overall thoughts and your feelings on hearing that tragic news this morning.
Yeah, yeah. I woke up to read that this morning, and you know, I was actually really gutted that he passed away because he's one of the people, the icons that we all look to. I mean, what he achieved in the sport um, was incredible, and he was an incredible man, like a preacher as well, a man of faith. And you know, every time he spoke of wisdom, and he'll be sorely missed. And he's one, you know, one of the big names in the sport, sadly, that have passed on. And you know, obviously along with Ali and Frazier, and you know, he'll be sorely missed.
Obviously, you mentioned the likes of Ali and Fraser there as well, but just one more on Big George. Is there any standout moment, standout fight for you?
Obviously, you got to look at the Ali Foreman fight in Zaire, but the fight that I love to watch was him versus Ron Lyle. And if you've never seen that fight, tune into it because it was an absolute incredible fight. Both of them up and down on the floor. Obviously, both of them big punchers, and yeah, that was one of the great fights of the heavyweights that I've seen. And obviously, the knockout of Frazier as well when he won the world title. Um, when he had Frazier down seven times, that was an incredible fight. So, you know, I really loved watching George Foreman. I love listening to him as well. And as I say, he'd be sorely missed. And funny enough, my daughter Demi, who's supposed to be boxing next Saturday on Misfit, she was training for quite a while in his gym over there, and the George Foreman gym in Los Angeles. And she was saying a few months ago he's supposed to be coming down. So I was saying to her, Cora, he's one person that I would love to have met in my lifetime. And you know, I said to her, if you get to meet him, it'd be incredible. But it's such a shame that he's passed away. I feel like, you know, you never think of someone like him passing, to be honest. But he comes to us all eventually, and he will be sorely missed.
No, 100%. And obviously, thoughts and condolences to his loved ones and his close ones. On that note, Tony, just to end on that heavyweight talk, just a fight on the horizon. Joyce and Philip Hrgovic. Just get your take on that, Tony.
Yeah, obviously Dillian White getting injured, they've had to bring in a decent level of fighter. Um, Obviously, I had Dempsey McKean against Hrgovic a couple of years ago, or maybe not even a couple of years ago, and he's a quality operator. He can really punch, and you've got to really see him as the favourite going into the fight. He's a he's a very good fighter, and I know Dubois beat him, but you got to say he was up in that fight up until that point, and he can punch with both hands, and he's a quality operator, and I think he will be the slight favourite in that fight.
There's been a lot of talk about what next for Alexander Usyk. He wants the Daniel Dubois fight, the WBO ordered the Joseph Parker fight. Who do you think is more deserving, or who would you rather see next step in to face Alexander Usyk?
I'd like to see Parker get his shot. I think he's fought everyone that he possibly can fight, contender wise, and I believe that he's improved so much. Obviously, I was in the corner with Joshua when he boxed Parker quite a few years ago now, and I think since then days he's improved so much under Andy Lee, and I believe that he's to fight Usyk, he's got a great chance as well. I really do, and I think it's going to be a great fight. That fight, obviously, the victor of that fight would then face Dubois, and so Dubois, he's another one who's improved massively as well. So yeah, I'd like to see Parker fight Usyk next, and then the winner fight Dubois.
Right, Tony, I'm going to leave you now to enjoy the rest of your weekend. Thank you for speaking to me in the early hours of this Saturday morning. Enjoy your downtime, enjoy the warmer climate, and good luck with the rest of camp. Thanks for speaking to me in Boxing News.
Thanks, Andy. God bless, mate.